more than 2 decades now, the beautiful seaside city of Antalya, Turkey has hosted many successful archery events, and this time it's the 3rd stage of the World Cup 2009. Situated on the beautiful Mediterranean coast of Turkey in southern Anatolia, Antalya is a highly modernized city with many facilities of European standard and a traditional, cheerful Mediterranean atmosphere. The sun-drenched beaches on the turquoise Mediterranean, flanked by distinctive cliffs, make up unforgettable beauty on the world-famous Turkish Riviera. Since its founding in the 2nd century BC, Antalya has had a bit of a checkered history. The ancient walls surrounding the city still standing near the marina, which is one of the most beautiful in Turkey, with an extraordinary blend of the ancient, picturesque, modern environmental design. The 18th century fluted minaret, with its 90 steps to the top, is a towering symbol of the city, while Hadrian's Gate provides an archway, an imposing archway, to its ancient past. Around 406 participants from 47 countries registered for this 3rd stage of the 2009 World Cup, and this was the return of the Koreans. After keeping a low profile following the Beijing Olympic Games, they were back on the world stage with nearly all new faces. Will they reach the finals? Will the new generation of archers continue to win against the ancients? And will our Lithuanian hero, Vladis Sagauskas, have another great run? Will Janta Talekdar get on the podium again? Who will win this 3rd stage? We'll find out as we head to the Antalya beach for the finals. The new mixed team competition, the innovation of this year, which was started in Santo Domingo, continued here in Antalya. In the Recurve division, Ouyang Ryu of China paired with her teammate Chen Wen-yuan to win the gold medal match 146 to 145 against Im Dong-hyung and Kwak Yi-ji for Korea. In the compound division, Italy with Eugenia Salvi and Sergio Pagni versus Australia with Fiona Hyde and Pat Coughlin took the gold medal, Italy taking the victory with a final score 146 to 142. It's the compound women's bronze medal final featuring this woman, Kamila Somod of Denmark, versus Ivana Budin of Croatia, who did very well in the last World Cup stage, taking the silver medal in front of an excited home crowd in Croatia. Kamila started off this match well, taking 3 points in the start, 29 to 26. 2 10s and a 9, Ivana with an 8-9-9. In the second end, Kamila had shot a 28, 10, 8, and a 10. The archer from Croatia came back with a perfect 30, letting her close the gap to 1 point at 56-57. In the third end, both shooting the same, 27 points. Kamila shooting an 8, 9, and 10. Ivana shooting a 9, 10, and an 8. But Kamila hung on in the last end, shooting 3 9s. Ivana with a 9, 8, 9. Kamila Somod taking the win, 111 to 109.
Okay. Thank you. You still have a nice figure. Yeah.
The compound men's bronze final was featuring 2 great shooters who've been in World Cup Grand Finals before, Pat Coughlin and this guy, Sébastien Brasseur from France. In the first end, Sébastien started out very well with 3 9s, but Pat shot a 9, 9, and a 10 to take the lead, 28 to 27. In the second end, Pat shot 10s and a 9. Brasseur shot 2 9s and a 10. Pat took a 2-point lead, 57 to 55. In the third end, Sébastien had another 9 before getting 2 10s. However, Pat Coughlin turned up the heat on the beach in Antalya with an X10, X10, X10 to take the lead, 87 to 84. In the end, Sébastien scored X10, 10, 10, but Pat controlled the match with an X10, 9, 9, and a 1-point lead to clinch the bronze medal. Final score 115 to 114.
Yeah, and those two, I knew I won.
It's the Recurve women's bronze medal final featuring the newcomer Ouyang Ryu of China and Ju Hyung-jung of Korea, who we have seen in a couple of events before. In the first end, both archers shot 28 points, Miss Ju shooting 2 9s and a 10, and Miss Ouyang shooting 2 10s and a 9. In the second end, Miss Ouyang shot a 10, then bobbled with a 7 and a 10, while Ju shot a 9, 10, 9, all gold. Ju taking the lead 55 to 56. In the third end, the archer from China scored a couple of 8s and a 9, but the Korean archer stayed solidly in the gold with 3 9s, maybe a little bit high, but still good enough to take the lead 83 to 80. Miss Ouyang finished well with a 10, 9, and 10, but Miss Ju kept on the pressure with solid shots. They weren't perfect, but 3 more 9s managed to keep her to a 1-point victory Tonelli, and the final score in favor of the archer from Korea, 110 to 109.
아까 그대로 쏠 걸 그랬어요. 괜히 올려줬어. 수고하셨습니다. 땡큐.
It is the Recurve men's bronze medal final match between Amedeo Tonelli of Italy, who we last performing very well in the team round in the Beijing Games, versus this gentleman, the winner of the last stage of the World Cup, Jayanta Talakdar, the hard-working archer from India. In the first end, Mr. Tonelli shot a 9, a 10, and an 8, with Mr. Talakdar shooting a 9, a 7, and a 10. Amedeo led 27 to 26 after the first end. In the second end, a long holding time while the wind was blowing for Talakdar cost him an 8. Mr. Tonelli immediately seized the opportunity and scored a 10. Talakdar struggled with another 9 and an 8, while Tonelli had another 10 and an 8, and then led 55 to 51. In the third end, Talakdar shot a 9, 10, and a 9, with Tonelli scoring 9, 7, 6, 2 points down at this point. And in the final end, Tonelli, well, pretty much lost it. 3 more 8s, while Talakdar really worked hard to get 3 9s, but enough to earn himself the bronze with a final score of 106 to 101 for Jay Talakdar.
Coming from far behind.
My nickname usually is Candy Queen, and it's because my dad, he owns a candy factory. It makes me proud of myself when I succeed. When I go to bed at night and just think this was a really good day. Have fun. I have 2 idols, and that's my parents. It sounds so cheesy, but I think they did a really good job. And well, I do have a sweet tooth. But I can be quite a handful sometimes. I want to make sure that people around me feels good. Back in 2006, the final match where I won the European Championship, my passion is just to enjoy life, get the most out of it.
Ever since 2006, we have consistently seen competitors from Venezuela in World Cup situations, including in the finals. But this is the first time that we've had a gold medal final featuring 2 shooters from that country. This is Luz Marie Guedes and her teammate Olga Bosch. Both of these shooters have performed at very high levels in the last couple of years, oftentimes showing up in the individual finals in the World Cup. Now they're up against each other for the gold medal final. First shot coming out of Luz Marie is an 8. Now, the conditions on the beach are a little bit breezy. You can see the umbrellas and wind flags on the field of play moving consistently, and it is causing some issues for the shooters to start with. It's pushing the arrows a little bit low. Olga's shot was a 9. And Luz Marie had just shot a 9. Olga with a 9. So we've got a tied score right now, and a little bit of a bobble from Luz Marie. Olga with a solid shot almost in the same place as her teammate's arrow. So after the first 3 shots, we've got a tied score, 25 points each for these 2 archers from sunny Venezuela. Now, as we proceed into this second end, because of the tied score, we go back to the original shooting order.
10 points.
And that 10 is going to be helpful to Luz Marie as she tries to set up some kind of a pattern to try to get a hold of her teammate Olga. So that 1 point advantage that Luz Marie now has is something she can try to build on, try to capitalize on.
10.
Well, not if Olga continues to respond that way. We see a tied score now, and as you can see, the wind is picking up just a little bit in the venue.
9 points.
Both ladies shooting well, shooting strongly. Olga now taking the advantage by 1 point. So this one's really going back and forth. At the halfway mark, Olga Bosch taking a 1 point advantage on target number 2. When this continues, it's going to be Luz Marie shooting first. So pretty much even, with Olga maintaining that 1 point lead that she'd established on the previous end. As we move up to arrow number 9, we're going to see a situation where one of these two is going to have to start pounding the 10 ring if they're going to break loose. And that might very well be what Luz Marie needed. So now we've got a tied score. It's all square with 3 arrows remaining, and these are the final 3 arrows of this gold medal match. Obviously, both shooters shooting at a pretty good standard considering the conditions on the field of play. We've got mountains behind us and the ocean to our right. So obviously we've got gusty winds, some interesting conditions here. But that might just have cost Olga the match. You cannot shoot 7 with a couple of arrows to go and expect not to see just what happened there. A 10 from your opponent, leaving them that door open. Here are the final arrows. And that was pretty much all that was needed for Luz Marie to clinch the match, because there's no way Olga can catch her no matter what she shoots. It is a 9, not good enough. It is Luz Marie Guedes, previous winner in several finals. She does it again here today. So a really good performance from both ladies, but Luz Marie taking it today with Olga taking the silver.
Bueno, me sentí como en casa porque
It's like at home, because the weather in Venezuela is very similar to that in Turkey, and everything went well for me.
Bueno, aspiro a ir a Shanghai.
Well, I want to go to Shanghai in order to be qualified for the grand final in Denmark. The men's gold medal match final. Here is Braden Galantine, who should be on a roll, having won the first World Cup stage in Santo Domingo. Braden has been shooting well all year. It is the return of Dominique Genet to the World Cup stage. The last time we'd seen Dominique was at the World Cup final in Shanghai, China, a couple of years ago. Since then, he's changed bow sponsors, worked on his form, and now he's shooting at a higher level. Here's Braden Galantine's first shot. Shooting strongly and confidently, Braden opening with a 10. Now the wind has calmed down a bit.
There's a 9.
Solid shot, but Braden is now ahead by 1 point after Dominique's opening arrow.
9.
But you can tell Braden didn't like that. The thing about Braden is you're always pretty much going to know whether he thinks the shot is good or not. He is a little bit vocal about such matters, so as this match unfolds, let's see if we can catch some insight into what he might have to say. Well, there you go. That's the kind of thing that you're going to get out of Braden when he's shooting well. That happens to be Brady Ellison in the Braden Galantine shirt, standing behind Braden. Dominique Genet opening with 27 to start the match. And ordinarily, that would be a big disadvantage against a guy like Braden Galantine. But, and in fact it is, with 2 points difference. And Braden, once Braden gets on a roll, he can be very tough to overcome. Earlier in the day, Braden had shot a 119 pass, so clearly he is feeling in good form today, shooting well. But he knew that arrow was going low. Not happy about it. Now there's a tailwind coming into the venue. The wind is coming from behind the archers, and sometimes that can actually push the arrows low.
The 9. Score is tied.
Good shot.
So now it's a tied score. Braden is perhaps starting to feel a little bit of pressure, especially with Dominique doing that, shooting a 10 like that.
And a 10.
There we go.
Tied score, 6 arrows remaining in this gold medal final.
So the tough wind is causing a few problems for Braden. You'll notice that Braden is a lot more expressive than Dominique. At this halfway mark, at the halfway point, we are tied both ways. You'll definitely hear what Braden thinks about that. You'll never see Dominique even crack a smile when he shoots a 10.
10 points.
And that is about as solidly in the middle as one can get. So both of these archers exchanging 10 after 10. The score tied. Braden shooting consistently low. You heard him say, get up to the arrow. Dominique not going through any special motions, just shooting the shots. Nice and cool.
10, 10, 10.
That's one great performance, and just the way that you want to put pressure on your opponent going into the last 3 arrows. So Dominique Genet now with a sudden 2-point advantage with 3 shots remaining. 9 arrows complete. And here we go with Braden Galantine's last end.
10 points. 10 points.
2 arrows to go. Dominique Genet maintaining a 2-point lead.
Get up.
9 just out of the 10.
Well, you heard it again. There he is, Braden talking to the arrow. He knew where it was going, even though it was only a centimeter low.
10.
Dominique, nice and cool and calm.
10.
And another fine shot from Braden Galantine to finish, but he knows that's probably not going to be enough to hold off Dominique Genet the way he's been shooting. All Dominique needs is an 8. There is a 10, 10, 10. And finally, we start to see what might be, is it? Yes, it is. It's a smile from Dominique Genet, winning with a convincing 116 points. First time for Dominique Genet to win a World Cup final stage. He did it convincingly today. Effectively, there was a lot of wind. The aim was not to concentrate too much on shooting, just try to keep in the gold. I knew there would be some bad arrows because of this weather forecast. It could have happened.
My nickname, when I first moved out to the training center, people called me the pup, as you know, just because I was the youngest kid on the team. my advice to all people that start out is to have fun. Lane Frost, he was a bull rider. He was the youngest cowboy to be entered into the Hall of Fame. I like to smile a lot, I like to have a good time. I like to make people laugh, and I think that I'm someone that a lot of people can trust. My passion's archery. I do everything archery. I hunt, I fish with a bow, we go bow fishing. Almost anything I do involves a bow, whether I'm on the field, off the field. In archery, the biggest person that I know and look up to is Butch Johnson from the US. He's been to 5 Olympics. I want to be one of the best that's ever lived. I'm proud and thankful to be able to do what I do. I'm proud to say that I am living a dream that most people can't. That's amazing, you know, that the Olympic movement can do that. That many countries can go under one flag and be, you know, companions pretty much.
Brady Ellison with a tremendous performance in the American trials for the World Championships the previous week, shooting the highest score ever by a non-Korean shooter, but it wasn't enough to bring her to the finals here, unfortunately. Speaking of the Koreans, here they are in the gold medal final. It's an all-Korean affair. We know the Koreans are going to win. The question is it going to be this lady, Miss Kwak, who we have seen only a couple of times previously in international competition, or is it going to be her teammate, this lady, Miss Yoon, who we've seen here before?
And an 8.
Well, not off to a blistering start, with Miss Kwak opening with a 7 and now a 9. Miss Yoon's opening arrow was an 8. Here she comes with her second shot and another 8. Yes, that does say KOR on the back of their shirts, but we're not quite seeing the standard that we expect to see from top Korean shooters today for some reason. Could be the wind, could be the beach, who knows. But whatever it is, here they are in the gold medal final. And we're looking at a 25-point score for Miss Yoon and a 24-point score for Miss Kwak. And that's Miss Yoon Lee in the background of Miss Kwak there, by the way. That's the 1999 world champion, now coaching for Korea. So obviously they've got a lot of depth in their coaching squad as well as on their team. And now they're starting to bring it together a little more like what you'd expect. Textbook form, certainly. So, a little better grouping than certainly that first end. You can see the holes remaining, so if you want to make a comparison, look at the holes in the target from the previous end, and you can see how much better they're doing on the second end. 53 points for Ms. Kwak and a 49 for Ms. Yoon. Both scores uncharacteristically low for Korean top shooters, to be sure. But, like I said, you know, we've got conditions on the beach here. We've got some wind. There's even a little bit of a cant toward the water, so that everything doesn't look like it's lined up quite perfectly. But that's the uniqueness of the World Cup. We have wonderful venues for the finals, and this is one of them. Arrow number 9 is down in the 8-7 line. And Miss Kwak is starting to amass a pretty big lead on her teammate, Miss Yoon. So after 9 arrows, it's a 7-point lead for Miss Kwak. Miss Yoon is going to be shooting first to try to finish up this match, try to make up some ground. Well, that's certainly not an easy thing to do with a deficit of something on the order of 7 points. 6 points in this case right now. 2 arrows to go, and that's a 10. Will it be enough? Well, Probably not. Single arrow to go. You don't normally see Korean shooters with such nice expressions. That maybe is part of the fresh face approach that we're seeing from the team. A lot of changes on the team in the last year since Beijing, and this is one of them. Miss Kwak making it to the final of the World Cup. It's her first appearance here. I'll bet it won't be the last. We will be seeing all of these same Korean competitors at the World Championships in Ulsan later this year. It's France versus Great Britain for the men's recurve gold medal match. This is Thomas Aubert, the 21-year-old international business student who has shot in the World Cup finals before in Varese a couple of years ago. This guy, one of the most experienced fellows on the circuit, that was Simon Terry. Simon was the 1992 Barcelona Olympic individual bronze medalist. He is the person with the highest score ever shot by a European, and here he is in the finals against Thomas Aubert. Simon opening with a 10. Now, here's something we've seen a lot of times in the past. We've seen Simon take big leads going into these World Cup final situations and then start to lose points as it got toward the end. This time, let's see if Simon is able to keep up the big 10 count as he continues into the match. There's one of them. Now, Thomas off, obviously, to a rough start with a 7, but you got to give the guy a break. He hasn't been in a World Cup grand final in a couple of years, and I'm sure he's feeling the pressure. Big follow-through, a lot of motion that you see sometimes from Thomas. We've seen some extraordinary shots from Thomas, but he is one of the most consistent shooters on the French team. He's done very well over the years. That was part of what I was talking about. Kind of a spectacular, we call that throwing a little English on the shot, but maybe that's French, because that was quite an extraordinary follow-through. But it went in the middle, so who's to say whether that's the right way or not? A little more conventional shot there, going into the 9 ring. Now, Simon Terry needs a 6 to lead, so he's looking at a 4-point potential. There it is, and he has a 4-point lead right now. And Thomas, a little bit of a wild follow-through there, and you can see, I'm pretty sure what's going on with Thomas. Now, there's a 6 from Simon. What's going on with Thomas is he knows where the shot's going as it breaks. Sometimes he doesn't like where it's going, and he's trying to do something about it, but obviously the arrow's long gone before all those machinations show up. Simon Terry needs to see about coming back after that 6, and he does indeed with a 9, so regaining the lead. Simon Terry, 55, pretty good shooting, especially with a 6. If you think about it, that's really remarkable. 51 points for Thomas Aubert. Now, Thomas is really a talented shooter, but if I were coaching him, I would say he needs to work a little bit on his follow-through. Sometimes, let me put it this way. I haven't seen Thomas shoot the same shot twice in this match so far. There it goes again. However, it does seem to pay off every once in a while. Simon may be moving into that position we talked about earlier, where arrow number 8, and he's starting to open up his groups a little bit. Okay, got it back. Now, Simon, at this stage, is in the lead by 2 points. He had a much bigger lead earlier, as you'll recall. It was 5 points earlier. Last 3 arrows coming up. Thomas shooting first, which puts him in a position to try to put some pressure on Simon, but not with 8s.
10.
Whereas Simon responds in the best way he can.
10.
Thomas with a solid shot. I should say a solid result. Again, the shot itself is, I wouldn't call it textbook. I don't like that one. But certainly the results are speaking for themselves to a degree. Still, Simon Terry pretty much unstoppable with his 12th arrow going in the gold. Simon Terry taking victory here, and Simon is looking forward to a big world championship in Korea later this year. So is Thomas Aubert, 110 to 106 in favor of Simon Terry.
I wasn't concentrating too much on Thomas and what he was scoring. I just wanted to shoot my own shot. As long as it's smooth and clean, it'll be a 10. It's when I start concentrating over aiming, then that's when the errors for me come in. So I just concentrate on my release, my timing, and everything will be okay.
The complex math of the ranking for the World Cup means that no one has a lock for the finals in the compound women's individual. Olga Bosch, Ivana Budin, Liz Marie Geddes, and Jamie Van Natta ranked 1st through 4th, but none of them are confirmed for Shanghai. Now, on the other hand, for the compound men, this man, Braden Galantine, on top of the list, he is a lock for Shanghai. No one else is, however. And in fact, it's the same situation for the recurve women. It is wide open. Depending on who shows up in Shanghai and how they perform, that will determine who will be in the grand final in Copenhagen. Same situation for the recurve men, but not quite to the same degree, because Jayanta and Simon theoretically are locked in so long as the right people don't show up in Shanghai and shoot well. So that's it for Antalya and the third round of the 2009 Archery World Cup. Don't forget to catch up with all the action from the World Cup on archery.tv on the internet. And we hope you'll join us for the last round in Shanghai, China, before the grand final later this year in Copenhagen. Until then, thanks for watching and good shooting from all of us.